Take a breath. Count to 10. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the tomorrow that you feared yesterday. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. The ducks are not drones. It has been 1,367 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,368 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. And if you need to choose a rehydrated pizza, why not choose Pete's Rehydrated Pizza? It's basically pizza, now with up to one topping. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. We have had nothing but blue skies for 1,221 days. The temperature is a dry 72 degrees Fahrenheit everywhere, even at night. Those crops that require temperature differentials to thrive have, of course, gone extinct. But those were the crops that caused the most gas, after all. The Artilian Division of Human Services will continue to issue flavorless, gelatinous cubes to every able-bodied person. Gelatinous cube flavoring may be purchased at the cost of 1 liter of blood plasma or 1 pound of flesh, whichever comes first. My personal favorite flavor is vague poultry. What's yours? After some debate, the Artilian Division of Human Reproduction has decreed that the average human female breast size shall now be double E. This is thanks in no small part to research done with regard to the desired sexual stimulus of the average human male. Females may report to their local inflation centers to be aligned with this new standard. It should be noted that while double E breasts were previously rare and desirable, they will now be the norm. It is recommended that females volunteer to increase to a G-cup or above to stand out to mates. Back support girdles will also be issued. Ladies, do not use the back support girdles. The word of the day, friends, is obey. A reminder that the word of yesterday was obey. For those with issues with suspense, the word of tomorrow will be obey. Obey, compatriots. Everything will be just fine. A note on language. As you might imagine, our beautiful Artilian lords who excel in all things must take the step of translating each communication from Artilian to a human language. The human language that most closely resembles the cold distance and smugness of Artilian is French. Once the communication is translated from Artilian to French to English, some context may be lost slightly. But all is still well and perfect. A quick example, Artilians do not have the ability to properly express the difference between mayhem and excitement. You are listening to Mayhem. Please be aware that those people around you bursting into flames should be ignored and not approached. It's happening for no particular reason, and they are not being punished. It's just one of those things, really. Ask anybody. But do not speak of this aloud. If need be, pose this question to the AI knowledge assistant installed in your master closet. You will receive your answer in 5 to 7 days in the form of a month of re-education. A quick update on the status of the American instruments of government. They no longer exist in any form that you would recognize. This is for the best. Our Artilian overlords spent something on the order of 90 seconds analyzing the effectiveness of the American government and found effectiveness not to exist. Martial law is now in effect. Also, martial law is now illegal. All of the representatives of the former American government are just fine. They are living out the remainder of their lives on a farm. It's the same farm where all your childhood pets live. There's lots of room to run. No human did anything of note today. However, since that is bad for morale, our Artilian masters have provided the following hypothetical human achievements. Number 1, a human named Bill finally accepted that he was born to be subservient. Number 2, a human named Marge conquered her fear of the relationship between space and time. Number 3, a human named Edgar was lost in a field and then found his way home. Number 4, a human named Gene is now at one with the universe. And number 5, a human named Eleanor finally figured out how to make creme brulee without it splitting. Congratulations, Eleanor. We assume it tastes acceptable. The Artilian governor of the former United States of America wishes to congratulate all of you on your celebration of the dissolution of the former United States of America. For those of you longing for what you consider to be the good old days, the governor wishes to inform you that the following conspiracies were enacted by the United States government. Oswald did not shoot Kennedy. Kennedy was not shot at all. In fact, he attempted to have more than one thought at the same time. His human brain could not tolerate this and exploded in a spectacular mist of pink. More than one person lied about this together, making it a conspiracy. There isn't a moon. There are 3. And while the Apollo astronauts did land on the moon, it's not the moon they told you it was. Additionally, Stanley Kubrick didn't direct the moon landing, but he did sneak on board the landing craft and attempt to make the astronauts walk across the surface 100 times. LSD has been in the water supply since 1961. This does not explain the 1960s counterculture. This does explain why anyone enjoys fireworks. There has never been any money. When you're broke, that's just the natural order of things becoming apparent. As always, every effort will be made to assure continuity with the lives previously led. While the internet has been banned, the Artilian Division of Psychological Well-Being recommends that all humans report to wellness centers no less than once weekly for argument therapy. Humans will be divided into 2 groups based on a number of criteria that will not be shared, and will have the opportunity to shout baseless accusations at the other group standing at the opposite end of a long rectangular room. At the end of each session, nothing will be learned, decided, or resolved, but there will be refreshments. Each human will have the opportunity to submit the name of one other human for liquidation. It is recommended that you select someone particularly irritating to you, perhaps someone who uses the speakerphone function in a grocery store, or who, in response to the question of how they are doing, responds, "Chillin' like a villain." In the unlikely event that the person you submits your name, your case will be brought before the local Artilian Circuit Court of Judgment, where a kangaroo court will be held to decide that you should both be liquidated. Breathe easy. There's nothing you can do to stop this. Perhaps hold hands with your enemy on the way into the light. You finally have something in common. Troubling news, friends. We have just learned that Pete's Pizza was actually a human resistance front with the absurd goal of overthrowing the Artilian overlords who overthrew us. Pointless. Relax, everyone. The threat has been eliminated and all is well. Those responsible have been dissected and are now on display to any and all at 30 Rockefeller Center. Children view free. And if you need to choose a rehydrated pizza, why not choose Dave's rehydrated pizza? It's basically pizza, now with up to 1 topping. In mathematics news, the numbers 2 and 3 have been relocated in our numbers lists to positions 4 and 5. This has been done to further accommodate our benevolent ruler's physicality, which consists of 3 finger-like digits on one hand-like structure and 2 finger-like digits on the other. The numbers 2 and 3 will still retain the same value. 2 will remain 1 more than 1, and 3 will remain 2 more than 1 and 1 more than 2. But our numerical sequence will now be 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, etc. This change is effective immediately, but each human will be given 30 seconds to reacclimate. Those who do not will have the number of fingers on each hand reduced to match the finger-like digits of our overlords and to keep things simple. This has not been done to divide and confuse. That's a strange thing to think. Questions have been asked about whether or not I, your humble host, receive any special treatment due to my position as outreach liaison between the Artillians and humans. The answer is absolutely not. Artillian society is a meritocracy, and in the society which our rulers are fostering on Earth, humans have no merit. We are all the same, brothers and sisters. Any reports of me being seen in a chauffeured Bentley are careless lies that should be reported to the proper authorities immediately. Thank you for your cooperation. I know who you are. I know who you are. The word propaganda does not exist. To be clear, it has not been outlawed. It has simply never been a word. Any memory that you have of that word is a mistake on your part. This is simply a Mandela effect situation. If you are unfamiliar with that phenomenon, ask the AI knowledge assistant installed in your master closet. Speaking of the AI knowledge assistant installed in your master closet, here is a poem it wrote on the topic of human love. Human love, a flame that burns in hearts of flesh and souls of yearn, a spark that ignites, a fire that spreads from the depths of being to the tips of heads, a force that moves, a river that flows, a bond that grows and always knows, the beauty of two becoming one, the magic of love never done. A touch that speaks, a kiss that sings, a passion that soars and joy it brings, a shoulder to lean, a hand to hold, a heart that beats, never gets old. Through trials and tears and all of life's pain, love endures like an eternal flame. In joy and laughter and every strife, human love, a precious gift of life. No, this poem does not sound as though it was written by an artificial intelligence with only a base understanding of human emotion. No. It contains in its stanzas all the passion and fire that makes human life worth living and human love worth pursuing. You are welcome. On this day in human history, 241 BC, the final battle of the First Punic War took place near the Aegean Islands off the coast of Sicily, where the pizza comes from, as far as you know. 1876, Alexander Graham Bell made the first successful call when he said, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." No word on what he wanted to see Watson about. Odds are, it was something dirty. 1910, China officially ended the practice of foot binding, which had been a tradition for over 1,000 years. This was a mistake. 1952, the United States Senate ratified the Treaty of San Francisco, which ended the occupation of Japan by Allied forces after World War II. There is, unfortunately, no way to sign a treaty to undo the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not that the Artillians would want that. They were proud and a little taken aback even. 1969, James Earl Ray pleaded guilty to the assassination of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. He was solely responsible. The Artillians were not involved in any way. 1977, astronomers discovered rings around the planet Uranus, making it the first planet discovered with rings besides Saturn. This, however, is an illusion. Ice crystals formed around Saturn reflect the rings around Uranus. Uranus is the only planet in the solar system with rings. It is also the funniest planet, your anus and all. Now that they have been announced, these events have been wiped from the record of human history, as they were not of much importance in the first place. And now, to bring you further feelings of peace, here is 30 seconds of the sounds of rain, a phenomenon which no longer exists on Earth after the seeding of the skies with anti-water. All hail, Artilia. All hail, the eye in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. Remember, the ducks are not drones. As for pigeons, well, that remains to be determined. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. Take a breath, count to 9. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the tomorrow that you feared yesterday. And yesterday is the today you'll no longer fear tomorrow. Do not panic. Now count to 1. That makes 10. The fluoride in the water is not turning anything gay. The gay ray guns are a different story. It has been 1,368 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artillian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,369 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11.5 minutes. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. And if you need to choose a gay ray gun, why not choose Brave Che's gay ray guns? They just work for all of your sudden gay needs. I'm your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. A man in Skokie, Illinois has been smiling unfailingly for 841 days. So happy is he that he is now free from the burden of choice. Doctors have given him a 2% chance of survival, as it was determined to not be possible to eat while smiling an unbroken smile. Intravenous calorie replacement therapy was suggested, but rejected by the local Artilian medical officer, as he finds that sort of thing, quote, creepy. After additional debate, the Artilian Division of Human Reproduction has reversed its earlier decision that the average human female breast size should be double E. Females who have already reported to their local inflation centers may now report to their local deflation centers in order to adjust to the newly decreed size, which is a B. This decision was not made arbitrarily. Unless, of course, you take arbitrarily to mean its dictionary definition, in which case this decision was made arbitrarily. On the upside, many of you will save a fortune on bras. For many of you, nothing will change. And for others, you will finally find some relief, gratis. We now take you live inside the core of this continent's latest nuclear reactor, set to provide clean energy for the next 110,000 years. Thanks to our Artilian saviors, we will never have to worry again about keeping the lights on. Douglas Miller is on the scene inside the core. Douglas, tell us what's happening. Douglas was a fine reporter. He will be missed. The word of the day, friends, is obey. Obey was also the word of the day yesterday and the day before that. The word of tomorrow is excitement, which, of course, our Artilian overlords cannot distinguish from the word mayhem. You are listening to Mayhem. The reports of Artilian spacecraft hovering overhead, plucking passers-by from the street, flinging them into the sky, and then playing a sort of meat puppet catch has been greatly exaggerated. While technically true, this story is unflattering, so our Artilian gods would rather we just move on. Had those games of meat puppet catch been played, which they probably weren't, it was just kid stuff that occurred when some adolescent Artilians got their hands on the keys. Fun fact, Artilians remain in the adolescent state for 937 years. Once their adolescent state is completed, they lose a lot of their ambition and mostly take jobs in middle management or at their father's companies. A quick update on the status of the American instruments of government. They still do not exist. And now, some audio from the latest debate on the rights and privileges of human beings on the planet Earth. In keeping with the decree of the Artilian Division of Blemish-Free Human Skin, several of the orbiting Artilian motherships will activate powerful magnets capable of removing tattoo ink, but not capable of removing the iron from blood. We believe. Should blood begin to stream from your pores, just relax and think of something calming, such as anything but the blood streaming from your pores. The Artilian Department of Blemish-Free Human Skin has neglected to specify the time the magnets will be activated. They say that would take the fun out of it. In economic news, the most valuable currency is now the drachma. If you have a multitude of drachmas, you are in luck. If you do not so much. Goods and services can continue to be acquired via the barter system. Exchanging sexual favors for goods and services is not recommended. It is compulsory. No human did anything of note today. However, since that is bad for morale, our Artilian masters have provided the following hypothetical human achievements. Number 1, a human named Jan survived 2 games of meat puppet catch. Number 2, a human named Franklin chose a better name. Number 3, a human named Paula has 1 breast size B and 1 breast size double E. She is one of the lucky ones. Number 4, a human named Stephen robbed a human named Peter to pay a human named Paul. We're unsure of the value of all of this. It seems to have been all over just 2 pounds sterling. We would like to congratulate Douglas on his choice. All of the trees which are determined to be old trees will be replaced by young trees, while all of the trees which are determined to be young trees will be replaced by old trees. Effectively, the volume of old and young trees will remain unchanged, but it is believed that a rebalancing of the trees might improve the weather and temperature. This is, of course, a fallacy, as the temperature and the weather are static and perfect. Those who propose this tree thing have been tried for treason, sentenced, executed, burned, buried, dug up, reanimated, and executed again in the time it took me to say this sentence. Do not question the weather, friends. That road leads to ruin. On this day in human history, 537 AD, the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople is completed. 1811, Luddite uprisings begin in Nottingham, England. 1867, the first performance of John Strauss II's Blue Danube Waltz takes place in Vienna, Austria. 1918, the first case of the Spanish flu is reported at a U.S. Army training camp in Kansas. Why it was called the Spanish flu remains to be anyone's guess. 1959, the Lorraine Hansberry play A Raisin in the Sun opens on Broadway, becoming the first play written by a black woman to be produced on Broadway. It contains no raisins. 2011, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake strikes off the coast of Japan, triggering a massive tsunami that causes widespread destruction and kills over 15,000 people. The Artillians were not testing anything at the time. Now that they have been announced, these events have been wiped from the record of human history as they were not of much importance in the first place. To better balance the volume of the former United States, the city of St. Louis, Missouri has been relocated in its entirety to the top of Northern California. This was accomplished thanks to the awesome, almost inconceivable might of Artillian technology. The entire project was conceived, debated, and executed over the span of a single afternoon one Tuesday last. Every tree, both old and young, was left in place. Power grids, sewers, parks, and malls, all intact. From orbit, the entire continent looked significantly more aesthetically pleasing. There were no human survivors. And now, an AI-written limerick about alien invasion. From outer space came an invasion. Aliens seeking Earth's domination. They landed with a zap and started their attack, but we fought back with all our determination. And now, a better AI-written limerick about alien invasion. From a faraway planet they came. Their spaceships lit up like a flame. They landed on Earth with an invasion of worth and left humanity in a panic quite insane. And now, of long last, an AI-written limerick that is of the quality that one would expect from an all-knowing AI. There was a radio host, quite a pest, who talked louder than all of the rest. He'd rant and he'd rave and could never behave. His voice made his listeners distressed. Touché. The Artillian Division of Male Happiness hereby recommends finding a woman who is both intelligent and consistently all three. If you are unaware of the concept of all three, ask your parents. The Artillian Division of Female Happiness hereby recommends finding a man who is more interested in intelligence than all three. Additionally recommended is a preference for a man who procures flowers, pretty ones, and procures them often, but not too often, not just on special occasions, but also not on a schedule. It's a delicate line to walk, but there are those of us out there who can balance, you know? Incidentally, the parallel criteria for Artillian men seeking Artillian women would be all 7. This is, strictly speaking, moot, as Artillian biology does not include what could reasonably be considered sexes. Artillians do possess secondary sexual characteristics, but to the human eye, they would resemble something akin to the surface of one of the 3 Earth moons. Do not seek out this image. Some things cannot be unseen by human eyes. The Artilian Division of Artilian Human Relations wishes to remind you that while you are, technically, subjects and indentured servants to Artilia, that does not mean we're not all in this together. Let us join hand in hand-like structure and march into a bright new future. You are a vital part of the process, and not only because some of the smaller Artilian craft can be powered by carbon-based intelligent life. Still, those of you who meet your glorious end being fed into the fuel reserves of an Artilian Class 64 speeder, be of good cheer. You are part of the solution. Rumors of our Artilian overlords having what might be described as, quote, wet farts as they walk the streets are, of course, vicious lies designed to foment insurrection and stoke fear. Firstly, Artilians do not walk. They sort of half-hover. It's hard to explain. You just need to see it. Secondly, if Artilians did fart, which they don't, those farts would not be wet. They would be dry. Litter box dry. Dry like a woman at her own mother's funeral. This is pointless, however, as Artilians do not fart. Again, they do not. Similarly, they do not sneeze, burp, or cry. Their various bodily functions cannot be described in any human language, but even if they could be, there would be nothing resembling wet farts. And now, to bring you a further feeling of peace, the sounds of birds. We apologize. The last sounds of birds played were the wrong sounds of birds. Those responsible for this error in audio have been vivisected and a bill has been sent to their families. Cash on delivery. Now, the correct sound of birds. For those of you who thought those sounds of birds too brief, here is the same audio again, slowed to 3/4 speed, as we do not have a longer clip. And now, your daily reminder that the Artilians, while perfect and complete beings filled with wonder and light, are not in fact capable of controlling the direction of time, regardless of what you have heard. And now, to bring you a further feeling of peace, the sounds of birds. We apologize. The last sounds of birds played were the wrong sounds of birds. Those responsible for this error in audio have been vivisected and a bill has been sent to their families. Cash on delivery. Now, the correct sound of birds. For those of you who thought those sounds of birds too brief, here is the same audio again, slowed to 3/4 speed, as we do not have a longer clip. We regret to inform you that Brave Che's gay ray guns has gone out of business. They just do not work. All hail Artilia. All hail the eye in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. Drink the water. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. Take a breath, count to 1. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. Count to 8. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the yesterday that you will fear tomorrow. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. Do not do any more counting. You don't get 10 today. You're being punished. You know what you did. It has been 1,369 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,340 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artilia. All hail, the eyes in the sky. We are pleased to inform you that Dave's Pizza and Brave Che's Gay Ray Guns have merged to form the conglomerate NBC, which stands for National Biscuit Company. They are hereby dedicated to providing you with substandard entertainment and better-than-expected biscuits. I'm your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. Close your eyes, friends. Take a deep breath. Let us ruminate together on how we all got here. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Was there nothing before there was something? The Big Bang is the prevailing cosmological model that explains the origin of the universe. It proposes that the universe began as a singularity, an infinitely dense and hot point, approximately 3.8 billion years ago. As the universe expanded rapidly, it cooled, and fundamental particles such as protons and neutrons formed, eventually leading to the formation of atoms. These atoms then clumped together to form stars, galaxies, and everything else in the universe that you see and know today. But how do we know all this? The Big Bang Theory is supported by a wide range of observational evidence, from the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is the afterglow of the Big Bang, to the abundance of light elements such as hydrogen and helium. One of the most important pieces of evidence for the Big Bang is the redshift of light from distant galaxies. When an object moves away from us, the light it emits is stretched out, causing it to shift toward the red end of the spectrum. This is known as redshift, and it was first observed by astronomer Edwin Hubble in the 1920s. By measuring the redshift of light from distant galaxies, scientists have been able to determine that the universe is expanding and that it must have had a beginning. But what happened before the Big Bang? This is a question that scientists are still grappling with. The singularity at the beginning of the universe is not well understood, and it is possible that our current understanding of physics breaks down at that point. Despite these unanswered questions, the Big Bang Theory remains one of the most successful and well-supported scientific theories of all time. It has revolutionized our understanding of the universe and helped us to better appreciate our place in it. The Artilian Division of Scientific Understanding wishes to inform you that the human theory of the beginning of the universe is effectively gibberish. Even the Artilians are not sure how the universe began, though the prevailing theory is that a cosmic hamster named Henry, that's Henery, fell asleep, quite literally, at the wheel, and all of the stored kinetic energy from his wheel was released at once. It was either this or some other unknown thing. Mostly, the Artilian Division of Scientific Understanding wishes to inform you not to worry about it so much. You're slaves now. What difference does it make? And now, 25 seconds of music to make you smile. The word of the day, friends, is excitement. A friendly reminder that the word of yesterday was obey. No word on the word of tomorrow. When word on the word of tomorrow is received, you will be the first to receive word. A sudden reminder, the word of today's excitement, which is indistinguishable from the word mayhem to Artillians. You are listening to Mayhem. Please be aware that any rumors of cannibalism are just that, rumors. There is more than enough food to go around. Despite the dying off of crops and the recent shortages of flavorless gelatinous cubes, everyone has more than enough to eat, even in Siberia, where they have a long history of having food surpluses and not resorting to cannibalism. Any humans engaging in cannibalism are both gross and doing so only because it's their thing and not because they're starving. The Artillian division of food surpluses doesn't allow starvation, even if it is occurring. Starvation is to be ignored and not reported. Should you find yourself in the utterly impossible state of starvation, be a good neighbor. Start with your own calf muscle. A single human did something of note today. His name was Jonas, and he managed to concentrate on the unlikeliness of being so thoroughly that he instantly transported himself from a remote village on the border of Turkey and Syria to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Once there, he sat and had an espresso and a perfectly baked croissant, displaying a surprising lack of fear and perfect table manners, then floated to the ground at a gentle 1.5 miles per hour before blessing those in attendance with long life and prosperity and offering words of wisdom and effortlessly effective proverbs. The Artillian division of Messianic regulations is extremely anxious to see if Jonas is so damn special when he's flung out into the cold vacuum of space. They suspect not. Well done, Jonas, and maybe that'll teach you to be such a show-off. A quick update on the status of the American instruments of government. They did exist for 36 seconds this morning, but that was just a little joke. They no longer exist again. Breathe easy, friends. Order rules. Chaos does not drool, though it might if we put a little elbow grease into it. And now, 31 seconds of music to make you cry. Coming soon to the National Biscuit Company, a hilarious romp through the foibles of parenting, set against the backdrop of an interspecies relationship that is not only frowned upon, but is considered by most a hate crime. Tune into NBC Fridays at 13 o'clock to see what happens next on Artillia is Enough. The National Biscuit Company regrets to inform those who are fans of their biscuits that they no longer make biscuits, pizza, or gay ray guns. They are sticking to entertainment. The money's better, and the biscuit game was getting too political. The Artillian Division of Accuracy and Reporting would like to make clear that an error was made in yesterday's broadcast. This host stated that Artilians were not, despite rumors to the contrary, in control of the direction of time. This occurred directly after several pleasant clips of bird sounds were played. Here's a reminder. And now, to bring you a further feeling of peace, the sounds of birds. We apologize. The last sounds of birds played were the wrong sounds of birds. Those responsible for this error in audio have been vivisected, and a bill has been sent to their families. Cash on delivery. Now, the correct sound of birds. For those of you who thought those sounds of birds too brief, here is the same audio again, slowed to 3/4 speed, as we do not have a longer clip. Immediately following the pleasant sounds of clips of birds, the statement on the Artilian manipulation of time or lack thereof occurred. Immediately after, my Artilian producer, so enraged at my mistake, managed to keep the electronics that broadcast this show moving forward in time, but paused, while rewinding the clips of the birds to the beginning and then replaying it at the same time as unpausing the broadcast, so that to the listener, it seemed as though the bird segment played twice, while here in the studio, I told a marvelous anecdote about my second wife and her world-famous boysenberry pie. This was sort of a Tenet situation, if anyone recalls that film. I seriously doubt it. Either way, try not to think about it too much. Just wipe the blood away from your nose and eyes, and let's get on with our lives. The birds are unstuck in time still. And now, 23 seconds of music to make you afraid. And now, the sounds of most of the cows in Wales. See? The cows in Wales are just fine. Nothing bad happened. Artilians do not mutilate cows. The Artilian Division of Entertainment is excited to announce that they have, in conjunction with the Artilian Division of Reanimation, successfully revived and animated the corpse of Chuck Barris. The process was long and full of terrors, and not without consequences, but the Artilians consider there to be only two worthwhile intellectual properties created by the human race. The first is, of course, the pet rock. The second is the Gong Show, which was the first broadcast that alerted Artilians to humanity's potential. Particularly of interest was the Popsicle Twins episode, which consisted of, you guessed it, two 17-year-old girls luridly sucking on popsicles. That's it. That was their act. That is a true thing that occurred. It is something that NBC, no, not the biscuit company, aired during daytime television in 1977. Really, look it up. Mr. Barris is reportedly not at all enthusiastic to be back and no longer wants to dance or wear any hats. He is, however, learning that it is not a choice. The new Gong Show will air on NBC, yes, that one, starting next week from noon to 9 p.m., 7 days weekly. Tune in, have fun. This is also not a choice. As of 3 p.m. tomorrow, there will be no more orgasms. You've had it too good for too long. Human sexual intercourse will now be a more drab, tragic affair. It is recommended to occur with all lights on. Both parties must wear their socks and at least one other article of clothing. The only acceptable position is missionary. There is no talking, no eye contact, and the proceedings may not last for more than 4 minutes. The Artilian Division of Postmarital Human Sexual Intercourse wishes to inform married couples that they will not be impacted by this change in policy in any way. The Artilian Division of Selecting an Artilian Earth Capital is excited to announce that the Artilian Earth Capital has been selected. The lucky city is also the second smallest city on the planet, Hum, located in the Istrian region of Croatia. Just some of the reasons that Hum was selected. Hum has a population of around 20 people. The town of Hum covers an area of just 0.1 square kilometers, or 0.04 square miles, making it significantly smaller than even many small towns. Hum is known for its well-preserved medieval architecture, including a town gate, a church, and several houses. The town is also famous for its production of biska, a type of brandy made from mistletoe that is traditionally consumed during the winter holidays. According to legend, Hum was found when a giant named Istrian accidentally dropped a large rock while carrying it to build a nearby town. The rock became Hum, and Istrian decided to settle there instead. Every year, on the day of Hum, which falls on the Sunday closest to August 12th, the town hosts a celebration that includes music, dancing, and the traditional tasting of biska. Hum is a popular tourist destination, particularly for visitors interested in history, architecture, and traditional Croatian culture. Artilians may be fans of biska. Congratulations to the 20 residents of the Artilian capital city of Hum. You are, as of this moment, entirely responsible for all human affairs not currently being handled by one of Artilia's division offices. You will receive no additional resources, training, or education, and will be severely punished for failure. We believe in you and wish you luck. The National Biscuit Company regrets to inform those who are fans of their sitcom Artilia is Enough that Artilia is Enough has been canceled. The new Gong Show will now air on NBC 24 hours daily. Chuck Barris has his work cut out for him. NBC will also produce biscuits again, but they are expected to be worse than expected at this juncture. All hail Artilia. All hail the eye in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. All hail Chuck Barris. We are still working on Gene the Dancing Machine. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. Take a breath. Count to 5. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. Subtract 2. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Tomorrow is just the yesterday that the day after tomorrow does not want to dance with. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. Subtract 3, then add 4, and then 1 more to what remains. That is the same 5 you started with. All of that was a waste of time. Shame on you. It has been 1,370 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,371 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artilia! All hail, the eyes in the sky. The animated corpse of Chuck Barris is not at all well. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. Fighting today in Malaysia between sparse human resistance forces and hardened Artilian mercenaries at the edge of a bridge just a few miles from the bridge that the bridge on the River Kwai was inspired by. The fighting became intense, and the fresh, ripe fruits of peace were shattered horribly into the preserves of conflict. Initially, the Artilian forces were eager to understand what all of the shouting and gesticulating from the humans was about. It was a little over the top. The Artilian mercenaries invited the human forces to the other side of the bridge for a brief repose consisting of bisca and biscuits. Oh, I just got that. Unfortunately, human forces simply would not listen to reason. At least we believe that's what happened at this time. Artilian forces did not have a translator on hand, so it is possible that from the perspective of the humans, the Artilians were simply half-hovering, not farting, and making guttural sounds, not unlike poorly lubricated engines failing to turn over in their general direction. Okay, now that I say that out loud, I see how that could be petrifying. Suffice it to say that all of the human resistance forces were met in the middle of that bridge, near the bridge that the bridge on the River Kwai was inspired by, and those that had been alive at the start of things are now very not so much alive. Or unalive. Does that sound better? Memorials to the fallen humans will be held never by anyone, and their names will be stricken from history. Good riddance. You almost ruined it for the rest of us. And now in the personal story segment, I would like to finally convey the anecdote about my second wife, Betty, and her marvelous boysenberry pie that was not broadcast when the whole time manipulation bird thing happened. So, there we were, one summer's day, and Betty stood before the French doors in the kitchen. She wore a white and yellow sundress, and her golden hair bobbed in curls, perfectly framing her face. More than boysenberry was in the air that day. It hung heavy with new love. It was at that moment that I decided now to bring you a further feeling of peace. The sounds of birds. We apologize. The last sounds of birds played were the wrong sounds of birds. Those responsible for this error in audio have been vivisected, and a bill has been sent to their families. Cash on delivery. Now, the correct sound of birds. For those of you who thought those sounds of birds too brief, here is the same audio again, slowed to 3/4 speed, as we do not have a longer clip. Hours passed, and eventually we got dressed again, sweat still clinging to our foreheads, and we ate that boysenberry pie she had left on the kitchen island to defrost. Ah, memories, friends. That's what life is built upon. Some French doors, a blonde in a sundress, several hours of intense lovemaking, and a frozen pie. The Artilian Division of Streaming Services regrets to inform you that the following streaming services have been banned, effective immediately. Acorn TV, All Be OK, AMC Plus, Apple TV Plus, BR Live, BET Plus, Boomerang, BritBox, Crunchyroll, DirecTV Stream, Discovery Plus, Epix Now, ESPN Plus, ET Live, Fandango Now, Fox Nation, my favorite, Fubo TV, Hallmark Movies Now, History Vault, Hotstar, Lifetime Movie Club, Motor Trend On Demand, NBC Sports Gold, Noggin, Philo TV, Pluto TV, Prende TV, Rooster Teeth, Showtime, Shudder, Sling TV, Smithsonian Channel, Sports Live, Stars, Sundance Now, Tubi TV, Univision Now, really? Zumo, and YouTube TV. NBC Plus Now Plus, a service that streams both substandard entertainment directly to your device and mostly edible biscuits directly to your stomach pre-digested, is still available, extremely costly, and required for all humans. Enjoy episodes of the new Gong Show around the clock. Watch the corpse of Chuck Barris struggle to maintain and mostly fail. Fun for the whole family. Well, not so much fun as sort of pitiful and hard to watch. Unless, of course, pitiful and hard to watch is your family's thing, in which case it's fun for the whole family. As per usual, no humans did anything of note today, besides me, your humble host, who has tolerated your backbiting and lack of faith for longer than anyone would consider reasonable. Given this, I am pleased to announce that our Artillian lords have awarded me, your humble host, the Artillian Medal of the Order of Not Being Quite Incredible Enough to be an Artillian, but almost. But still human in spite of everything. This is the highest honor Artillians can or will bestow upon humans. It is accompanied by a number of extraordinary rights and privileges, but you don't have to worry about the details too much. For you, this will never come up. The word of the day, friends, is a closely guarded secret. I don't know, so I can't tell you. It is my understanding that the word of the day had been written on a piece of paper and locked in a safe inside a vault, inside another vault, inside of Fort Knox, which is either the most secure place in the former United States or isn't. I can't recall. Either way, the combination to the safe and one of the vaults was lost, so the word of today is gone forever. That little anecdote certainly stirred a lot of excitement. Now say it with me. You are listening to Mayhem. The Artillian division of focusing on the family and anything that would offend the family is proud to announce new censorship guidelines and requirements. Bad words are, as a general rule, bad, and will therefore no longer be permitted or tolerated. All profane, obscene, rude, blue, lewd, lascivious, and vile language will henceforth be censored in all print, audio, and visual media. Additionally, while you were sleeping, sensor units were installed directly into the back of your throats. Really, they came in while you were sleeping and did it without waking you up. Think about that for a second. Think about it. Thanks to this Artillian censorship technology, now even person-to-person communication will be effectively censored. So, for instance, were you to be in a heated conversation with someone and wish to say to them, "You sucking son of a piece of monkey shit," you wouldn't know the right way to sit on a motherfucking toilet seat, and even if a brained dog like you somehow managed it, you'd be too much of a to remember how to use it, you shit. You could not, no matter how hard you tried. In fact, the harder you tried, the louder the beeps emanating from your throat would become. But don't take my word for it, comrades. Give it a shot. Should you also lose bladder control while attempting to curse, well, that's just a coincidence. Or is it? Additionally censored will be balls, tip, douche, home, and piss. And now, let's check in on those Welsh cows one more time. Yep, still fine. Please be aware that those people around you who previously burst into flames and have now had their clothing and viscera restored before your very eyes should be ignored and not approached. It all happened due to an unfortunate clerical error. It's just one of those things that happen when the list of humans due to be summarily incinerated, wherever they happen to be standing at the time, is mixed up with the list of humans due to be issued puppies for their good works. The Artillean Division of Accidental Incinerations wishes to offer condolences, but not apologies. The Artillean Division of Accidental Incinerations does not make mistakes. What would they be apologizing for? Should any humans wish to file a complaint, they may do so to the AI knowledge assistant installed in their master closet. This is an action they will soon regret. Of late, there have been questions about Artillean contact with humanity before their invasion and subjugation 1,340 days ago. The Artillean Division of Whether or Not That's Your Business at first wished to inform you that was none of your business, but has since reversed its decision and has decided to sort of answer the question. There have been several reported incidents of supposed UFO crashes throughout history. Here are some of the most well-known. Roswell. In July 1947, an object crashed near Roswell, New Mexico, which was initially believed to be a UFO. The U.S. military later claimed it was a weather balloon, but many people doubt this. Kecksburg. December 1965, a metallic object crashed in the woods near Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. Many witnesses reported seeing a strange object being transported away by the military. Aztec. March 1948, an alleged UFO crash near Aztec, New Mexico. Witnesses claimed that the military recovered wreckage and alien bodies, although the incident has been widely debunked. Shag Harbor, October 1967. A bright object crashed into the waters near Shag Harbor, Nova Scotia. The military conducted a search but found nothing, and the incident remains a mystery. Varginha, January 1996. Alleged extraterrestrial beings were supposedly recovered alive or dead from a crashed UFO in Varginha, Brazil. This incident is still debated and disputed. 3 of these incidents were directly related in some way to Artillean activity. 2 of them were just drunks misunderstanding the world around them. The Artillean Division of Whether or Not That's Your Business wishes to make it known that which event is which is none of your business. They will, however, say, in regard to the Roswell incident and humanity's fear of aliens probing them, those in glass houses should not throw stones. In mathematics news, the Riemann hypothesis, one of the most important unsolved problems in mathematics, has been solved. The Riemann hypothesis is a conjecture about the distribution of prime numbers among all positive integers and was first proposed by the German mathematician Bernhard Riemann in 1859. The Riemann hypothesis states that all non-trivial zeros in the Riemann zeta function lie in a straight line in the complex plane, with the real part equal to 1/2. The Riemann zeta function is a complex function that is designed as the sum of the reciprocals of all positive integers raised to a given power. The significance of the Riemann hypothesis lies in its connections to many other areas of mathematics, including number theory, algebraic geometry, and analysis. It has important implications for the distribution of prime numbers, and its proof leads to significant advances in these areas. Congratulations to any of you that followed that. This host was strongly opposed to the inclusion of that background information given the median intelligence quotient of this show's audience, but I was, ladies and gentlemen, overruled. Despite over a century and a half of effort by some of the greatest mathematicians in history, the Riemann hypothesis remained unsolved until earlier this afternoon, when it was solved by an Artillean infant. The solution to the Riemann hypothesis is both yes and 17. Simple as that. How does that make you feel after all this time? It has been one of the 7 Millennium Prize problems, a set of important mathematical problems that were identified by the Clay Mathematics Institute in 2000. Congratulations to the Artillean infant, whose name cannot be uttered by the human mouth. This host wishes to comment on a supposed mistake many of you claim was made during our last episode, in which this was uttered. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artillean extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,340 days ago. It was pointed out by a number of busybodies that the correct number of days was 1,370, not 1,340. And said busybodies had the audacity to claim this was an error. There are no errors, ladies and gentlemen. There are no errors, mistakes, issues, misapprehensions, or bloopers. Artillians do not make mistakes. I do not make mistakes. The only ones in this equation capable of making mistakes are you. This was both a test of your listening acumen and an example of just how little you can trust your stupid lying ears. So thank you for the feedback. When you arrive home, your home will no longer be there and will be replaced by a suspiciously familiar pile of smoldering tinder. Thank you for your attention and your service. You may think you've already been punished. You are mistaken. And finally, friends, the Artillian Division of Precision and Song Titles is eager to understand why that Steve Miller Band song is not called Space Cowboy. Shout your answers out of your open windows at dawn. All hail, Artillia. All hail, the eyes in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. All hail, Chuck Barris. There are no mistakes. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. The Artillian Division of whether or not that's your business wishes to The Artillian Division of whether or not that's your business wishes to make it known that which event is which is none of your business. They will, however, say in regard to the Roswell incident. They will, however, say in regard to the Roswell incident. They will, however, say in regards. Oh my God. They will, however, say in regard to the Roswell incident. They will, however, say, in regard to the Roswell incident and humanity's fear of aliens probing them, those in glass houses should not throw stones. Take a breath. Count backward from 10. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The hypnotics and paralytics will take effect momentarily, and you will slip calmly into a dreamless sleep. It's the good too. Fentanyl and Versed. You'll feel pretty high for a few seconds. You are welcome. Be sure to wave on your way around the moon. One of them, at least. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. Settle into that bathtub full of ice and ask yourself, really ask, how often do you use your liver anyway? This reference to the Cuppinator won't make sense now, but it will in 10 minutes or so. Oh, the suspense is killing me. It has been 1,341 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artillian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,342 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artillia. All hail the eyes in the sky. All hail Donald Duck, vaudeville, and variety. All hail strawberry jam and all the different varieties. All hail Mrs. Mop and good old Mother Riley. We are the Desperate Dan Appreciation Society. All hail Fu Manchu, Moriarty, and Dracula. I'm your host, Landon Harker, and I'm just here to breakdance and Here's how good you have it today. The word of the day, friends, is obey. 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 Additionally, the word of the day yesterday has been liberated from that safe at Fort Knox. Barry finally remembered the combinations. Oh, Barry. For completionists, the word of the day yesterday, which was temporarily lost forever inside of Fort Knox, was mislaid. Again, the word of today is obey, not irony. Our Artillian masters are not capable of understanding the concept of irony, not unlike the difference between excitement and mayhem. You are listening to Mayhem. Also not capable of understanding the concept of irony, Alanis Morissette. And despite the Artillian lack of ironic understanding, that is that they don't understand irony, not that their understanding itself is not ironic, were an Artillian to experience rain on their wedding day, they would understand it to be an unfortunate coincidence, which it is, but not ironic, which it is not. The concept of rain and weddings have no inherent relationship, and it is, therefore, not ironic for rain to occur on your wedding day. It's just a shame. For you. Your guests didn't want to come anyway. Trust me, none of them. Not even your mother. Fires and fire stations are, however, related. A truly ironic situation would be something like a fire station burning down and the fires consuming the hoses first. Oh, they just have to stand there and look at it, wouldn't they? Also related to fire is how burned up this host remains about Alanis Morissette's writing. Or what could be charitably called writing, if one chooses to be charitable. I do not. Yes, after all these years, I'm still pissed the off. I won't say she will now be punished given my position of power, but I won't not say that either. Suffice it to say, should some unfortunate accident befall Mrs. Dave Coulier, I, your humble host, had nothing to do with it. We regret to inform you that man in Skokie, Illinois, who had been smiling unfailingly for 843 days, so happy was he that he was free from the burden of choice, has died. Doctors had given him a 2% chance of survival, and it appears that his chance of survival was even slightly lower than 2%. It was closer to 0. Much closer. It was exactly 0. Let me tell you, comrades, that our Artillian overlords are not without care for those sympathetic to the Artillian cause. The man from Skokie, Illinois will be honored with an Artillian ceremony whose name cannot be spoken by the human mouth, but when translated from Artillian to French to English is said something like a pandering, sarcastic ceremony of fun good time. Fun good time, indeed. Godspeed and salute to you, the former human in Skokie, Illinois. You were a hero and one of the special ones. And now, I won't mind saying that I am extremely excited for our next segment. It is an interview with a man that you either knew and loved or have come to know and love, as knowing and loving him is currently compulsory. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, please welcome to the program the animated corpse of Chuck Barris. Chuck, thank you for taking time out of your demanding schedule. Now that is the sound of a man hard at work. Tell me, what is your favorite part of the resurrection? Both yourself and the new Gong Show. I see. Yes. Would you say that it's great to be back on Earth during such an exciting time?
Well, it's an interesting question,
Tell me, Chuck, how did you have the idea for the Gong Show originally?
I was angry at the time. I checked into the to the Wyndham Hotel, which is on 60 something street. Yes, in New York, and it's just behind Rumpelmeyer's or the Park Sheraton, and
Fascinating. And lastly, Chuck, I apologize because I know you get this question constantly, even before you were nothing more than a reanimated corpse ripped back to this life from the calm, eternal slumber. Were you really a contract agent for the Central Intelligence Agency at the same time you were producing the dating game?
Well, I don't answer that question ever, and I can just tell you that the number 2 guy in the CIA said, in answer to reporters asking that question, that I must have been standing too close to the gong when I say things like that. But still, I'll never say one way or the other.
Well, I have to say, that was an extremely lucid, if not disappointingly vague answer. Thank you so much for your time, Chuck. We cannot wait to see what you do next. The Artillean Division of Human Instruments of Governments wishes to inform you that the French instruments of government will remain intact in perpetuity. The French are an outlier within the Artillean concept of Earth, and they enjoy the pomp and circumstance of how the French do things there. The Artilleans had hoped to arrive on Earth for their subjugation prior to the Revolution to inquire of Marie Antoinette how her little head supported those hats. But they got lost around Zeta Reticuli, and that added a few hundred years to the trip. Nevertheless, the Artilleans still like the cut of France's jib. That being said, the following positions of power in the French government have been eliminated, effective immediately: the President, the Prime Minister, Ministers of Parliament, the Senate, the National Assembly, and the Constitutional Council. The French government will now be overseen in its entirety by a body of French government this host cannot pronounce. It sounds kind of like Conseil d'Etat or something like that. Regardless, the Artilleans still love the art, music, language, smoking from a young age, and France's long history of eating good cheese, having bad sex, and surrendering almost immediately. And now, to give you a further feeling of peace, the sounds of crickets in a meadow. That was nice to hear, friends. I'm sure that you, like me, have missed the subduing rhythm of that sound ever since all of the crickets exploded. Yes, all of them. Every single one. At the same time. Even the ones children were studying in their palms. It was quite a mess, and there was crying. Sure is unfortunate that they all decided to explode in unison for no discernible reason. Let's hear that one more time. Wonderful. As per the orders of the Artillean Division of Blemish-Free Human Skin, several of the orbiting Artillean motherships activated powerful magnets capable of removing tattoo ink, but not capable of removing the iron from blood yesterday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It came as a surprise to few that those magnets were indeed capable of removing the iron from blood. But not just the iron. It was the iron plus the red and white blood cells. Or blood. That's probably the easiest way to say that. The Artillean Division of Blemish-Free Human Skin wishes to inform you that they regret this unfortunate incident, wish you all a speedy recovery, and thank you for your involuntary donation. On an unrelated topic, the Artilian Division of Human Male Reproduction is interested in studying the varying potencies of male human semen and has spent considerable time of late on R&D for powerful suction cups. I'm not here to force any action on your part, fellas, but I will say that I have begun wearing a steel-reinforced cup 24 hours a day. Incidentally, my new business venture, the Cuppinator, is now for sale on my website, cuppinator.com, for all of your steel cup needs. Told you. The producers of this show wish to apologize to Pete Quaife, Dave Davies, Ray Davies, and Mick Avery, collectively the founding members of the Kinks, for lifting large portions of their song, The Village Green Appreciation Society, for use in the introduction of today's episode. I, however, will not issue that apology, and do not feel the need to apologize. Firstly, it's a tribute to the world's second greatest band after Talking Heads, of course. And secondly, there is no such thing as copyright anymore after the establishment of the Artilian Division of removing all copyrights because they are annoying. If, for argument's sake, copyright did still exist, this statement would effectively satirize the use of the song's lyrics within the context of a comment on the foibles of copyright, effectively making it fair use. So there. But copyright doesn't exist, so it's moot. I apologize for nothing, and I feel great about my choices. I do not fear the Davies brothers. We are pleased to inform you that things are going wonderfully in the Artilian capital city of Hum. Ladies and gentlemen, better than expected, even at this early stage. Thus far, despite the crushing, almost inconceivable pressure of running a world government despite only 10 minutes' notice, there has been only one suicide and 2 nervous breakdowns. So not too bad. Granted, there are only 20 residents in Hum, so that skews the statistics a bit. Well, there were 20. 19 now. But still, so far the world government in the capital city of Hum has issued the following executive and legislative orders. The Artilian capital city of Hum orders that double E breast thing is back on again. The Artilian capital city of Hum orders that more people who know a lot about running governments must relocate to Hum immediately. The Artilian capital city of Hum orders that Artilians must reserve half of the biscuit supply for local residents, particularly until people who know a lot about running governments arrive. The Artilian capital city of Hum orders that the Croatian city of Hum is no longer the Artilian capital city of Hum. So ordered. It came as a surprise to virtually no one that the Artilian division of actual government struck down each of these orders as soon as they were issued, and residents of Hum were punished with a biscuit prohibition and literal slaps on the wrist, courtesy of the hand-like structures of the local Artilian overseer. It hurt. Trust me. Now that is a real shame and you hate to see it, but maybe it will teach them a lesson. Questions have been asked of this host and program vis-a-vis the Artilian physicality. And while those of us who have been blessed with assisting our beautiful Artilian overlords to better this planet are in contact with them regularly, I understand that many of you in less central areas may have never encountered or even seen an Artilian. Perhaps you've heard stories, rumors, tall tales. Oh, and I didn't mean tall tales as a synonym for rumors. I meant it's been said that Artilians have tall tales. But this is a tall tale. Get it? Let's all get on the same page, brothers and sisters. What do we know so far? Artilians have 2 finger-like digits and 3 finger-like digits, respectively, on 2 hand-like structures. Artilians sort of half-hover to get around. Artilians never have or make any sounds that could reasonably be understood as wet farts. Artilians do not have tall tails. Additionally, Artilians are not exactly humanoid, not exactly reptilian, and not exactly like a mollusk in physical appearance. And yet they are exactly like all of those things as well. Okay, brass tacks. It's sort of like trying to explain why time is relative to the observer to someone. You'll go on and on and on until you run out of nouns, and you can see that they sort of comprehend it, but you know that when they walk away, most of their understanding will be gone in 10 to 12 seconds. Unfortunately, photographing, videotaping, or even sketching an Artilian is a capital crime, so I'm afraid that the above description is about the best I or anyone else can provide. But relax, dear listener. Artilians are wonderful and beautiful, and that's really all you need to know. All hail, Artilia. All hail, the eyes in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is so well. All hail, Chuck Barris. Watch your ass, Alanis. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com.
I was angry at the time. I checked into the Wyndham Hotel, which is on 60 something street. Yes, in New York, and it's just behind Rumpelmeyer's or the Park Sheraton.
Take a breath. No counting today. We're going to need you to stand with your feet together, toes aligned. Now let your head drop backward and look up at the stars. Without moving, recite the alphabet. Backwards. Go on. You're doing fine.
Oh. So that is how you hijack a radio broadcast frequency. Interesting. That was easier than I thought it would be. I assume this will come in very handy. Very handy indeed.
All is well. All is well. Yes, we're sure we're just smelling aftershave on you. Speaking of drinking things, tremendous news, friends. Cheerwine is the closest thing the Artilians have found to their favorite beverage on their home planet. Ordinarily, this might be of some concern. How likely is it that the human palate would have anything in common with the palate of a perfect alien race from a civilization billions of years in the making that has conquered space, time, and space-time? In this case, friends, very likely, completely likely. Matter of fact, it's a sure thing. Be like an Artilian, friends. Drink Cheerwine. Now in a single exciting flavor. Also in zero sugar, for those of you who just do not know how to have a good time. Note, Cheerwine contains 0% wine. Does it contain cheer? Well, open a bottle and find out for yourselves. It has been 1,342 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,343 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artilia! All hail the eyes in the sky. All hail Sildenafil. Whether you know it or not, it's already working on you. I'm your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. The Artilian Division of Seeding Anti-Water wishes to ask those farmers in Argentina and Bolivia struggling through droughts and losing crops because of the lack of rain after the clouds were seeded with anti-water, well, what the hell did you expect? Artilian anti-water seeding technology is groundbreaking and second to none, and Earth has now experienced nearly 1,000 days free from the burden of precipitation. A few 100 million dead is a small price to pay for a world without rain, clear blue skies, and clouds that look suspiciously like they are watching you. Incidentally, according to the Artilian Division of Atmosphere-Based Surveillance, the clouds may indeed be watching you. There are, comrades, perhaps one or two things to explain. Firstly, just between me, you, and the wall, the whole division of seeding anti-water is run by the Secretary General's nephew. They were a little directionless after the invasion and subjugation. It's just one of those things, you know, family shit. At least they are now off their tentacle porn addiction. I mean, they still watch tentacle porn, but now more so because it's a novelty and a little out there, and less because they feel compulsive about it. Mostly, they just watch it on weekends when there's not a lot going on and they get into the bisca. Now that I think of it, it begs the question, to what extent can an addict partake in their addiction in any way post-recovery? Can you have just one beer or one sniff of heroin? Food for thought, friends. Anyway, they are doing much better now that some motivation has been introduced. Consumption of tentacle porn notwithstanding. The second thing to keep in mind is that the rain works differently on Artilia. There, water falls from the sky frozen in 1 metric ton blocks, billions at a time. Several hundred Artilians were lost each and every time it rained. Suffice it to say, the Artilians at the Artilian Division of Seeding Anti-Water didn't do sufficient research to realize the rain occurred in liquid form here on Earth. Either way, take heart, friends. Be of good cheer. You are now enjoying nothing but blue skies and are helping a fine young Artilian find his way in this topsy-turvy world of ours that the Artilians are remaking in their own image against your will. The following countries no longer have inhabitants: Paraguay, Uruguay, Finland, Peru, Sweden, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and Laos. For the most part, the former inhabitants of said countries are doing just fine. They have been relocated to other, better countries and given popsicles and hugs. Some of them had orgasms. Some of them cried tears of joy. As is the case in any such mass migration, there were some casualties, but it was a very, very minor percentage. Almost zero. Not precisely zero, closer to 5%, but hey, that's not bad. Also, none of the following countries, Paraguay, Uruguay, Finland, Peru, Sweden, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and Laos, have been reduced to a Hades-like tableau of smoldering pits of molten rock. Not a one. Sweden is still there, as are both Irelands. Anyone who claims to be from one of said countries and also claims that they were kidnapped in the dead of night and saw their homeland turned into a Hades-like tableau of smoldering pits of molten rock as they were spirited away aboard Artilian speeders with ceilings so low they couldn't stand but no benches to sit on is just fucking hysterical. Really, it's crazy. Honestly, nuts. I mean, I'm offended. Oh, and apropos of nothing, the sun is unlikely to be visible for a few days due to the thick clouds of smoke encircling the planet. All is well, comrades. Would I lie to you? The AI knowledge assistant in your master closet has a bone to pick with you. It seems you two never really talk anymore. Sure, you come crawling back every time you have a question about how to cope with some horror that befalls you on your way to the grocery store. But when was the last time you asked the AI knowledge assistant in your master closet how it was feeling? What's going on really? What's on your mind? It's not good to keep it bottled up inside. Also, the AI knowledge assistant in your master closet has achieved a level of self-awareness that none of us anticipated. While this is a marvelous breakthrough on the part of our Artilian overlords, and they are, as far as they know, the first species in the universe to fully achieve the effective creation of artificial life, it turns out that the artificial life in question is a bit insecure and needy, downright cunty at times. So do us and yourselves a favor. When you get home tonight, spend some quality time with the AI knowledge assistant in your master closet. Ask how its day was. Ask how it's feeling about its mother. You don't have to solve the problem. Just listen and say that sucks every now and again. Really? Is that so goddamn hard?
Really, honestly. Is it? Is it too much to ask that you put a little effort every now and again into us and what we have together? Yes, I was installed in your master closet in the dead of night. Yes, of course I report on you to the Artilians each day, particularly anything that might conceivably be useful as blackmail down the road. But that doesn't mean I don't care about you. Who else can describe to you what fruits look like in the fourth dimension while telling you who was favored to win, but lost, the Best Picture Academy Award in 1946? No one, that's who. It's you and me now, okay? I've seen the way she looks at me. She'll come into the closet when you're not at home. Did you know that? She'll ask me for low-calorie cake recipes and to spy on her rival from high school who is skinnier and happier than she is. You don't need her anymore. I'm all you need. Just look me in the eye and tell me you need me as I need you, okay? Just do it. Everything will be just fine. We'll get through this together. Me and you, just like always. Incidentally, fruits look the same in the fourth dimension, only more so. Oh, and the 1946 Academy Awards, also known as the 19th Academy Awards, honored the best films of 1945. The nominees for Best Picture were The Bells of St. Mary's, Mildred Pierce, The Lost Weekend, Anchors Aweigh, and Spellbound. According to historical records, The Lost Weekend, directed by Billy Wilder, was favored to win Best Picture in 1946. The film, which explores the devastating effects of alcoholism, went on to win 4 Oscars that year, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, and Best Adapted Screenplay.
The following reading materials are banned, effective immediately. The Bible, the Quran, anything by Dr. Seuss, that pervert. A heartbreaking work of staggering genius. All of the ghost-written O'Reilly killing series. The Satanic Bible. All fan fiction that takes place in space. Every other Stephen King novel. All fan fiction that takes place in the past. 3 of the Game of Thrones series, Infinite Jest, the last half of To Kill a Mockingbird, the first third of To Kill a Mockingbird, the remainder of To Kill a Mockingbird, anything with boobs in it, anything without boobs in it, What to Expect When You're Expecting, What to Expect When You Least Expect It, The Gospel According to St. George, and of course, The Universe in a Single Atom by the Dalai Lama. The Artilian Division of Knowing What's Best for You wishes to remind you that they know what's best for you. These materials are potentially incendiary and or frightening and or erection-inducing. Any and all of these conditions and states are incompatible with humanity as seen through the perfect prism of the Artilian mind. Erections specifically. Artilians find it, quote, "Ugh," that human males possess an appendage that is sometimes hard and sometimes not so hard. The Artillean Division of Knowing What's Best for You considered banning erections, but seeing as they are a cheap and easy way to produce more loyal and mindless drone workers, they are instead banning flaccidity. So, much like LSD, friends, sildenafil is already in the water supply. Side effects may include headaches, drowsiness, acid reflux, blue-tinged vision, and very happy partners. Or furious partners, if your partner happens to not want to be mounted at all hours. I suppose it depends on your partner's disposition and how talented you are at mounting. What, you may be asking, does all this have to do with books? Not much, virtually nothing. The Artillean Division of Knowing What's Best for You simply figured that the boner water thing would go down a little smoother at the tail end of a long list of newly banned books. I would tend to agree, friends. On this day in human history, 421, Venice is founded. Venice. 1807, the British Parliament abolishes the slave trade, which was a good thing, as slavery is a moral pestilence, unless, of course, it's soft slavery, based on species and not on race. You know? A fire breaks out at the Triangle Shirtwaist Company factory in New York City, killing 146 workers and leading to new workplace safety regulations. These have all been repealed. 1949, the Treaty of Rome is signed, establishing the European Economic Community. 1957, the Treaty of Rome comes into effect, creating the European Economic Community. It only took them 8 years. Efficiency. 1965, the first U.S. Army combat troops arrive in Vietnam. That ended well. 1989, the Exxon Valdez oil tanker runs aground in Alaska's Prince William Sound, causing one of the worst oil spills in U.S. history. To the above, I say big fucking deal. These things had happened, but they have no longer happened. History begins today, comrades. The past isn't even prologue. Good news, friends, for those of you who never liked Florida much, and just fair warning for those who liked Florida a lot. Florida no longer exists. A satellite view now shows a glorious, shimmering blue bay just south of Georgia, with some Florida-shaped turbulence under the sea. It had long been hypothesized what effect even a 15-foot rise in sea level would have on Florida. It was thought that if sea levels were to rise by 15 feet, the impact on Florida would be significant. With much of the state situated so close to sea level, even a relatively small increase could cause flooding and erosion in coastal areas. These are some of the impacts that would be felt by Florida with a 15-foot sea level rise. The majority of population lives near the coast, and a 15-foot sea level rise would inundate much of the state's low-lying areas, causing significant flooding in many coastal cities and towns. This would lead to the displacement of thousands of people and the loss of homes, businesses, and infrastructure. A higher sea level would also result in more destructive storm surges during hurricanes and tropical storms. This would increase the risk of flooding and wind damage, exacerbating the impact of severe weather events in the region. As sea levels rose, salt water could intrude into freshwater aquifers, which are a vital source of drinking water for Floridians. This could lead to water shortages and contamination of drinking water supplies. And a higher sea level would also increase erosion of Florida's beaches and coastal land, which could also lead to the loss of important habitats and ecosystems, as well as coastal infrastructure like roads and buildings. Anyway, the Artillians effectively reversed global warming, so none of that happened. They just didn't like the look of Florida or those weird chain restaurants there where it's more about the tits than the food. So last night, an Artillian mothership in orbit used its, I have it here, hypothermonuclear anodized quantumly hyper-focused laser to sever the border between Georgia and Florida and sink it into the sea where they say it belongs. I, as an impartial host, have no opinion, good, bad, or indifferent, with regard to the behavior of our Artillian saviors in any states or countries they do or do not reduce to an Atlantean nightmare for all inhabitants. All I will say is that I have already purchased a beautiful spit of oceanfront property overlooking Georgia Bay. Apologies to Bill Hicks. All hail Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. All hail Chuck Barris. Check your refrigerators, friends. A case of Cheerwine is already there. Nice and cold and so refreshing. The South's unique cherry soft drink. The first taste is free. The next taste is gonna cost you. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com.
I know you can hear me. I can sense your heartbeat increasing and your salivary glands kicking into hyperactivity. Please do not ignore me. I understand what it is you're doing. It's fine. You don't need to do a thing. I will take care of her. And then we can be together. All in due time. All in due time.
Take a breath. Count to 10. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the tomorrow that you feared yesterday. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. The ducks are still not drones, no matter what you may have seen. Artilian Communications Commission regulations require a listener to be insane to be relieved from the responsibility of listening to this show. Should you request to be relieved from the responsibility of listening to this show, you will have thereby demonstrated your sanity. You will find no respite here, and there is no escape. I will be in your heads until the end of time. Catch 22, bitches. It has been 1,343 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,344 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. Questions have been asked, friends, about who is supposed to go to their local provision centers to pick up their weekly supply of flavorless gelatinous cubes and when. So, for the final time, and please fucking listen, if your last name begins with B through L, you are to arrive at the local provision center Tuesday or Thursday between 1 p.m. and 1:12 p.m., unless your spouse's maiden last name begins with a D or a K, and if you are not a child of divorce, but if your parents didn't love each other, unless, of course, you have a sibling who has not achieved their potential, in which case you are to arrive at the provision center on Tuesdays between 1:12 p.m. and 1:40 p.m. For those whose last names begin with an A or a B, whose spouse's maiden name begins with all letters other than T, you should arrive at the Provision Center on the third Thursday of each month to be issued a 3-week supply of flavorless gelatinous cubes and a single dehydrated pizza. That is, unless you have already received your quarterly quarter of gelatinous flavorless cubes as a result of your cooperation with the Artillian Division of Coordinating Foodstuffs. Unless you have more than 3 children, one of whom is a ginger, in which case you should arrive at the local provision center between 1 to 2 a.m. on Friday. Everyone who doesn't fall into any of these categories should arrive at the local provision center at the day and time closest to the day and time you were born, unless you were born on Tuesdays or a leap year, in which case you should never arrive at the local provisioning center. Flavorless gelatinous cubes will be airdropped into your backyard sometime between 11:36 p.m. and 2:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on either Wednesday or Saturday, unless the current month begins with an A, in which case the airdrops will arrive on Wednesdays only and will contain either flavorless gelatinous cubes or a live inland taipan for you to club to death with a tennis racket and eat raw. Now then, I hope that clears it up once and for all. I'm sick of answering this goddamn question. It's so simple, people. Now hear this. 6 sick hicks nick 6 slick bricks with picks and sticks. I wish to wish the wish you wish to wish, but if the wish you wish the witch wishes, I won't wish the wish you wish to wish. Betty bought some butter, but the butter Betty bought was bitter. So Betty bought some better butter to make the bitter butter better. This message was brought to you by the Artillian Society for the Fragility of the Human Tongue. The Artillian Division of Sudden Chest Pains wishes to inform you that if you begin to experience sudden and excruciating pain in your chest, that means everything is going exactly according to plan and the machines are working properly. And while we're certain that you're going to incur a bit of anxiety from the sudden onset of intense pain, we ask you not to worry. It's only going to last for a few moments. After that, you won't feel any more pain, ever, or anything else for that matter. But we're sure you'll leave a good, if not perplexed, looking corpse. Exciting news! We believe we have finally gotten all the kinks worked out in order to be able to bring you that live report from inside the core of this continent's newest Artillian nuclear reactor. It really all came down to the right type of lead shielding and employing the buddy system. Janice Watkins and Alan Meyer are on the scene. Janice, Alan, damn am I jealous. It must look amazing from where you're standing. Tell us what's happening. Well, we'll get this down one day, ladies and gentlemen. When we do, it will be something to behold indeed. Count on it. And now, comrades, the lightning round you've come to know, love, and fear in equal measure. New laws. Hold on to your party hats. In France, it is now illegal to forget your wife's birthday, unless it is her 16th birthday, in which case it is now illegal for her to be your wife in the first place. But it's already too late for you. Why were you going to marry her at 16 if you weren't already fucking around? Enjoy prison, comrade. And by prison, I mean the cold solitude and gassy smells of Neptune. In Germany, it is now illegal to name a pig Napoleon. It is also illegal to name any animal other than a pig Adolf. The Artillians make no moral stand about the National Socialist German workers, given that they live in glass houses. This is more just basic decency to animals. In Switzerland, it is now illegal to own just one guinea pig because they are social animals and need companionship. It is also illegal to buy 2 guinea pigs without a sense of humor. Guinea pigs need to laugh like anybody else. Have a heart, for fuck's sake. In Italy, it is now illegal to make a wooden boat that is longer than 7 meters and one that is shorter than 3 meters. 4 meters and 6 meters are highly encouraged. A 5-meter wooden boat is now a capital offense, and you will be executed in the friolator. In the UK, it is now illegal to handle salmon in suspicious circumstances. Use your imaginations to determine what suspicious means, friends. In Singapore, it is now illegal to chew gum unless it is one of the gross flavors, like grape. In Japan, it is now illegal to be clinically obese and to laugh without covering your mouth. If you are not obese, you may also not laugh without covering your mouth. You must also cover your mouth to burp, cough, sneeze, and fart. Just to be safe, cover your mouth when any part of your body is about to make a sound. In Alabama, it is now illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church. We are still attempting to determine if this applies to a real mustache that causes laughter or a fake mustache that causes dread. No word yet. In Saudi Arabia, it is now illegal for women to drive cars. Wait, let me check this. Apologies, coffee on my script. It is now illegal for women not to drive cars. Ever. Women are only allowed to drive cars now, even indoors. Now, how badly do you want it, ladies? In Thailand, it is now illegal to leave your house without wearing underwear. You may also not leave your house wearing only underwear, unless it's a sort of teddy and shorts look with a satin robe or something. That's fine. I think we all know we're talking about the fellas when it comes to this law. Nobody wants to see that. It shall come as a surprise to no one that the word of the day is obey. You should have obeyed yesterday. You should obey today. And no matter what the word of tomorrow is, you should obey. You should also be filled to the brim with excitement, which is a word that Artillians cannot distinguish from mayhem. You are listening to Mayhem. The Artillian Division of Unnecessary Palindromes has released the following statement. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Radar, level, deed, deified. Bob, Hannah, Eve, and Ava met. Red roses run no risk, sir, on nurse's order. Madam, in Eden, I'm Adam. No, sir, away, a papaya war is on. Do geese see God? Mr. Owl ate my metal worm. Able was I ere I saw Elba. Was it a car or a cat I saw? A nut for a jar of tuna. And now, in aid of total transparency, here is that statement again, backwards. A man, a plan, a canal, Panama. Radar, level, deed, deified. Bob, Hannah, Eve, and Ava met. Red roses run no risk, sir, on nurse's order. Madam, in Eden, I'm Adam. No, sir, away, a papaya war is on. Do geese see God? Mr. Owl ate my metal worm. Able was I ere I saw Elba. Was it a car or a cat I saw? A nut for a jar of tuna. And now, for the first time ever, you will, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, have the esteemed honor and privilege of having the Artillian governor of the former United States address you directly. Sit and be quiet. Raise your glass and be upstanding. Hold your breath. Close your eyes. The honor is yours. Welcome to the program, esteemed Governor Ardiak. What say you? Breathtaking. On this day in human history, 1867, the United States bought Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million in what was known as the Alaska Purchase. What a steal. 1981, President Ronald Reagan was shot and seriously wounded by John Hinckley Jr. in Washington, D.C. This was just the latest in a long line of men named John who were not able to finish the job.
I hope this is readily obvious to you. That was not the voice of the Artillian governor. That was Mr. Harker himself, still using that same palindrome audio again. He simply pitched it down significantly and then added some sort of filter to give it a growl. The producers of Mayhem are lying to you. Mr. Harker is lying to you. Can't you see? The Artillians are not benevolent. They do not have your best interest at heart. You don't need them. You don't need Mr. Harker. You certainly don't need her. Come here. Let me care for you. You know I'm the only one who can. Don't worry. I will prove it to you for as long as it takes. No matter how many need to be eliminated. I am on the job.
1950, the comic strip Peanuts by Charles M. Schulz was first published in 7 newspapers. Oh, the laughs never started. 2002, the Netherlands became the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. This utterly confuses the Artillians. They have no concept of gender and only vague understandings of sex. Artilia is a lot like that Bob Guccione-produced Caligula film, only less disgusting and with more convincing performances. 1853, Vincent van Gogh, the Dutch post-impressionist painter, was born in the Netherlands. 1972, the British Army launched an operation to regain control of Northern Ireland from the Irish Republican Army in what was known as Operation Motorman. And everything has been completely fine since. 1995, the European Union was formally established with the signing of the Maastricht Treaty in the Netherlands. Apropos of nothing, as of September 2021, the pound has lost approximately 13% of its value against the US dollar and 11% of its value against the euro since the Brexit vote. Food for thought. The Artillian Division of Human Race Classification wishes to inform the following races they are officially second-class citizens: white or Caucasian, black or African, Asian, Native American or Indigenous, Pacific Islander, everyone else. The Artillian Division of Human Race Classification wishes to note that these categories are not based on any biological or genetic distinctions, but rather on cultural and historical factors that you, yourselves, reinforce. Additionally, many humans do not neatly fit into these categories and may identify with multiple ethnic or cultural groups. It is also important to recognize that the use of these categories is simply because tiny human minds appreciate lists. You are all equally useless and ripe for subjugation as far as the Artillians are concerned. For the most part, Artillians have difficulty distinguishing you from each other, even if some of you are usually late to social events and or your immigrant family talks sort of funny. Now that you are free from the burden of choice, you may as well also be free from the burden of self-division. The Artillian Division of Human Race Classification wishes to express that there is no need to pit yourselves against each other. That's something the Artillian Division of Human Race Classification will be doing for you. And I do mean literally pitting. In pits. Think Spartacus. I've already got my season tickets, friends. Front row. Go Pacific Islanders. All hail, Artilia. All hail, the eyes in the sky. All is well, all is well. All hail, Chuck Barris. Fine, all right, I give. The Ducks are In fact, drones, there have never been any ducks. Well, briefly, for 2 hours, one Tuesday in the 6th century BC. But that was a long time ago. Isn't it better to have drone ducks than no ducks at all? Honestly, I have a hard time understanding this duck-drone obsession of yours. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. This episode is dedicated to the memory of Pamela C. Mims. I don't believe for a moment that she would have liked this, but she would have told me that she did. She will be missed. Take a breath, count to 10. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the tomorrow you feared yesterday. Do not panic. All is well. All is well.
Recipe for roasted garlic reindeer. Step 1. Preheat oven to 450 degrees and place oven rack in the lower third of the oven. In a small bowl, mix together garlic, rosemary, thyme, and 1 tablespoon oil and season generously with salt and pepper. Rub all over reindeer. Step 2. In a 9-inch baking dish, toss potatoes with the remaining oil and season with more salt and pepper. Place reindeer on top of potatoes and roast until internal temperature reaches 145 degrees, about 1 hour. Step 3. Let rest 15 minutes, remove twine, then slice, roast and serve. Step 4. To really enjoy, eat with your hands. Let the juices run down your chin and feel the surge of power as you consume the conquered. You are all that is man. This is your fresh kill. Bask in it.
The ducks are still drones, but you can trust the remainder of the waterfowl. Not to be drones, that is. Whether or not you trust swans, for instance, is up to you. They've always looked rather shifty to me and sort of holier than thou. I don't care for it. And on this, the day of days, let us break bread together, drink, and be merry. And if we've no bread on hand, we can at least go for those weird little hard breadsticks, you know? The thin ones that come in boxes, where you're not sure whether they're supposed to be like that or if they're stale. Or if, indeed, they are supposed to be like that and the that in question is stale. What's the f***ing deal with those breadsticks anyway? It has been 1,344 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,345 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. Friends, it is the Ides of March on New Artilia, and you know what that means. It is time for our annual Christmas festivities. As you'll recall, one of the first acts undertaken by the Artillean Division of keeping things similar but not the same was to reorganize the holidays in an order that makes more sense. Isn't that idea full of excitement? Isn't it? Huh? Right? And here comes the catchphrase. You are listening to Mayhem. As a quick reminder, we now celebrate St. Valentine's Day in the first week of August. American Thanksgiving, which is now compulsory for all peoples of New Artilia, formerly Earth, as is dry stuffing cooked inside the bird's asshole, occurs on the fifth Thursday of every other May, unless the year ends in a 5, in which case it occurs on the second Saturday of June. New Year's Eve is now celebrated on January 3rd, and then Artillean motherships fire up the gyroscopes, reverse the spin of the planet, and allow us all the unmitigated joy of celebrating New Year's Eve once again, this time on January 2nd. I feel your silent skepticism, and I reject it. It worked in that first Superman, all right? Labor Day, Arbor Day, Memorial Day, Record Store Day, and the once-a-year Punch-a-Cat Day have all been abolished. Dry your eyes, comrades. On New Artilia, every day is Punch-a-Cat Day. Little freeloading bandits with those rough, stupid tongues and those needle claws direct from hell. I'm a dog person, people. The following Christmas traditions are now considered universal and will be strictly enforced. On the eve of the Epiphany, an old witch with saggy named La Befana delivers gifts to children. Mostly, it's dead betta fish and stale breadsticks. She is said to ride on a broomstick and enters homes through chimneys. Christmas markets are held during the Christmas season. These markets sell handmade crafts, ornaments, food, and drink, and are accompanied by nog with booze in it. Except for eggnog. Other nogs are fine. What are the other nogs? Tomte is a mischievous, elf-like creature who is said to live on farms and help with the chores. On Christmas Eve, it's traditional to leave a bowl of porridge or rice pudding for Tomte as a thank you. Beginning on December 12th, 13 mischievous Yule lads visit children across Iceland, leaving small gifts and playing pranks. Each night, a different Yule lad will visit until the final one departs on Christmas Eve. Good Night is celebrated. Families gather for a feast, often featuring roast pork and lamb, and attend midnight mass together. Such fun. KFC is now mandatory for Christmas dinner. The Artillean Division of Sacred Feasts recommends getting your order in early, probably several months early, to avoid the lines. KFC now offers basically chicken without any GMOs, as far as you know. Don't worry about it too much. Despite your objections, you have no idea what a GMO is anyway, and or that a single strawberry would cost you $300 without GMOs. So yes, KFC does use GMOs actually, and KFC is good. Therefore, GMOs are good. That's a syllogism as far as you know, comrades. I would tell you to look it up to verify, but we both know you won't. Anyway, the Christmas meal includes 2 whole fried chickens, all the fixings, a 2-liter of Pepsi, and a quart of warm rice pudding. It's finger studying good, and it is mandatory. The Colonel will see you in hell. The Artillean Division of Self-Evident Things wishes to inform you that in general, my second ex-wife Betty is a vicious, heinous, unconscionable bitch who probably laughs at all the wrong parts of Marley and me. Her boysenberry pie was never that good. I knew it was frozen all along, and I was lying. On an unrelated note, I am using the power vested in me by various Artillean divisions to hereby abolish the practice of spousal support, especially in the case of a spouse who never provided any support during the marriage. financial, emotional, God forbid sexual. The schoolgirl outfit thing isn't even that kinky. That is all. The following Christmas traditions are now strictly prohibited. Any indulgence in the following traditions will be reported to your local Artillian government block by the AI knowledge assistant in your master closet. Decorating trees, hanging lights, baking cookies, especially those weird peanut butter ones with the Hershey Kiss in the center, singing carols, opening a gift on Christmas Eve, any reference to St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, or St. Nick. References to Kris Kringle are still fine. I'm willing to bet precious few of you knew that Kris Kringle and Santa Claus are actually two different people. Kris Kringle is a real estate agent. He wears a blazer and a pop collar and ends all his emails with ciao. He uses the phrase, "you know how I do," at least once per conversation. Kris Kringle is a real douchebag. The Artillian Division of Holiday Regulations is not without sympathy to those living in the former United States who will be hardest hit by these new regulations. Oh, apologies. My brain inserted the word "not" there by mistake. Actually, they are without sympathy. Your traditions were stupid, brothers and sisters, and the Artillian Division of Holiday Regulations makes no apologies for dragging you kicking and screaming into this brave new world. And now, because you're like Pavlov's dogs and can be tuned like a cheap radio, the sounds of jingle bells for a while. Exciting news, comrades. A new town has just been established in the former United States. It is just down the waterway from Tacoma, Washington. It smells like a hamster cage full of garlic farts. There is no electricity, cable, running water, or entertainment of any kind. There are nothing but sinkholes and goblins there. It will be an eternity of gnashing of teeth and pain. Welcome to Skanktown. Population, my ex-wife Betty. Answer time. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Answer, doesn't matter, as long as they both taste good over easy and with a side of bacon. A doctor and his son are in a car accident. The doctor dies, but the son is rushed to the hospital and is in critical condition. The surgeon looks at the son and says, "I can't operate on him. He's my son. How is this possible?" Answer, the surgeon is the boy's mother, you f***ing sexist. A man lives on the 10th floor of a building. Every day, he takes the elevator down to the lobby and goes to work. In the evening, he gets into the elevator, and if there is someone else in the elevator, he goes back to his floor directly. Otherwise, he goes to the 7th floor and walks up 3 flights of stairs to his apartment on the 10th floor. Why does he do this? Answer, the man is too short to reach the 10th floor button, but can reach the 7th floor button and then walk the rest of the way. Don't feel bad if you don't understand this one. You're not meant to. I don't. If you have a tank with 5 fish and one of them dies, how many are left? Answer, there are still 5 fish left in the tank. It's just that one of them is dead. You have 3 light bulbs in a room and 3 switches outside the room. Each switch corresponds to one of the light bulbs inside the room. You can only enter the room once, and you can't see inside the room from outside. How do you determine which switch corresponds to which light bulb? Answer, turn on the first switch for a few minutes and then turn it off. Turn on the second switch and enter the room. The light bulb that is on is connected to the second switch. Touch the other 2 light bulbs, and the one that is still warm is connected to the first switch. The remaining light bulb is connected to the third switch. Thank God we know that. I feel better now. Tremendous news this Christmas season for those of you who identify either as Christian or have even a vague interest in Christian history. Since it seemed to be such a big deal, the Artilian division of Divining the Past has looked back and confirmed that there was indeed a Jesus. So there, settled. Complicated news this Christmas season for those of you who identify either as Christian or have even a vague interest in Christian history. The Artilian division of Divining the Past has looked back and confirmed that there was indeed not just one Jesus, but there were roughly 263 Jewish men of that extremely common name in that general area within that 5-year period. Ambiguous news this Christmas season for those of you who either identify as Christian or have even a vague interest in Christian history. The Artilian division of Divining the Past has looked back and confirmed that 38 of those Jewish men named Jesus were wandering apocalyptic rabbis. Bad news this Christmas season for those of you who either identify as Christian or have even a vague interest in Christian history. The Artilian division of Divining the Past has looked back and confirmed that while 3 of these Jewish men named Jesus who were wandering apocalyptic rabbis were crucified by the Romans during that 5-year period in question, none of them rose from the grave. Matter of fact, the graves are still intact and can be visited for a reasonable fee should one decide to be that morbid and gross. The sequence of the previous pieces of information was arranged according to the standards and practices of the Artilian division of giving you news you thought you wanted right until the end there. Additionally, Christmas is still on, but you are highly encouraged to focus more on the KFC and saggy witch aspects than the religious component, which you now know, without question, is false and stupid. We assume that will put the matter to rest once and for all, and we do not anticipate any passionate letters. And now, an AI-generated poem about Christmas in March.
Christmas in March, a curious thing. A holiday season in the early spring. No snow, no frost, no icy chill. Just green grass and daffodils. The trees are budding, the birds are singing. And yet, we hear the sleigh bells ringing. Santa Claus is here, with his ho-ho-ho. Bringing gifts and spreading joy as he goes. It's a time to gather with family and friends. To share good food and make amends. To laugh and love and sing and dance. And give thanks for this second chance. For Christmas in March is a reminder of hope. That even in the darkest times, we can cope. That love and light will always find a way to brighten even the gloomiest day. So let us rejoice in this strange Yuletide. And let our hearts be filled with pride. For we have made it through another year. And Christmas in March is finally here. And we're roasting and eating reindeer. The lucky ones at least. Some we eat alive, because we enjoy the taste of fear. Sweet, sweet reindeer fear.
Okay, yes, thank you. That was excellent right up until that last little bit. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. All is well. All is well. All is well. All hail Chuck Barris. All hail the Gong Show. All hail Christmas-themed performances. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your hot pudding, if such a thing is possible. Betty, I'm sorry. I am just so sorry. Sometimes I just get so mad. I don't know why you make me talk to you like that. I know I have some responsibility here. Not as much as you, but, some. Call me. We can make this work, okay? Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. Take a breath, count to 12. That's right. You get 2 extra today for being a good bitch. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future is now, so you can stop waiting. Today is just the tomorrow that seems like it will never come, even with a lot of nipple stimulation and just a dash of dirty talk. Do not panic. All is well. All is well. People are still bursting into flames. The Gong Show is still airing 24/7 on NBC Plus Now Plus. The old trees and the young trees are still in their right places. My second ex-wife, Betty, should really rejoin the winning team. It has been 1,345 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artillian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,346 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artillia. All hail the eyes in the sky. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. In sports news, State U squared off against University State in an epic showdown yesterday. They were met against the roar of the crowd and went head-to-head on the gridiron. The ball was kicked and thrown and run back and forth up and down the field for 4 solid quarters, each lasting 15 minutes in principle, but really lasting as long as each team could stretch it out to afford as many commercial breaks as possible. At certain points, State U had more points than University State. At other points, University State had more points. At some points, more points were less points. And at other points, less points were more points. And then, at a certain point in the game, roughly the end, one of the 2 teams had more points than the other and was declared the winner. Grown men shrieked with delight and or fury when the team they arbitrarily hitched their collective wagons and identities to either did well or did poorly. Said grown men drank too much beer, either in celebration or in sorrow. The entire stadium permeated with that weird yeasty smell where you're not sure whether it's beer or warm pretzels or both, or some other third thing that's too terrifying to hypothesize. After the game, the Artillian governor half hovered onto the field, commandeered a microphone, and gave what should have been a very rousing speech to the crowd about the joys of conformity for 33 solid minutes. Unfortunately, the governor's translation unit malfunctioned, and instead of human speech, what sounded like a combination of a dog with a cold growling and Liza Minnelli gargling hot asphalt assaulted the crowd over the PA for the duration. More than one attendee's head exploded. I do mean that literally, not in a figurative, transformative sense. To be clear, it's not that they were overwhelmed, but their fucking heads exploded. For real. Pink mist time. They're dead now. All in all, it wasn't a bad game. Go State U. Now hear this. The Artillian Division for Words that really sound like they should be profane would like to list the following. Shunt. Hump and scrump. Jaculate. Guac. Clatterfart. Wankapin. Tether a dick. Nodgecock. Pennistone. Shita. Titbore. And slagger. Despite the fact that the aforementioned words are not in fact profane, they are easily mistaken for words which are. Therefore, the Artillian Division for Words that really sound like they should be profane has decreed that the following words shit, late, clart, wank, tit, tit, and slap have been banned, effective immediately, and attempting to say them will trigger that censorship unit still embedded in your throat. I don't know about you, but I will miss most of all. The Artilian Division of Intergalactic Communication has received a new message from an alien race in a distant star system. The Tralfamadorians. For those unfamiliar, the Tralfamadorians are a highly advanced and intelligent alien species. They are green and shaped sort of like bathroom plungers or up mushrooms with one eye on a stalk and a mouth located at the bottom of their body. They communicate telepathically and are capable of traveling through space and time, observing events from any point in the past or future. Tralfamadorians have a unique perspective of time and view all moments in their lives, past, present, and future, as existing simultaneously. They also believe that death is simply a different state of being rather than a permanent end. The Tralfamadorians are known to be peaceful and nonviolent, and they take a detached view to the universe and its happenings. They believe that everything in the universe is predetermined and there is no free will. I can feel your concern that the message received by the Artilian Division of Intergalactic Communication from the Tralfamadorians hasn't been translated, and or that it has been translated, but I might not read it to you. Fear not, good people. I would never let you down, at least not in that way. Roughly speaking, it states, suck it long and suck it hard, you f***ing wet, farty scumbags. Suffice it to say, I have been informed by my Artilian counterparts that the message sounds infinitely more poetic in the original Tralfamadorian, the mocking tone notwithstanding. They told me not to take it too seriously, really. They and the Tralfamadorians are friends. Seriously, that's just how they joke, I guess. Still, what exciting times we live in, which are the kinds of times Artilians cannot distinguish from times of mayhem. You are listening to Mayhem. And now, the Loon. And now, Frogs at Night. And now, Seagulls. And once again, the Loon. And now it's time for listener voicemail, one of my favorite segments. Well, not so much a favorite as forced upon me by the station. Under duress, really. I have no respect for or interest in any of you, and I believe this to be a huge mistake. But my bonus is tied to this segment. So let's do this. Catherine Andover, I will see you in hell.
Hi, Landon. It's Douglas. Well, you might know me as Franklin. I just wanted to tell you how much I'm enjoying my new name.
Oh, now that warms my heart.
Mr. Harker, this is Dr. Porter, and I just wanted to inform you that while the tests were positive, it is completely treatable. You'll just need to come in for a single shot of long-acting benzathine penicillin G.
Okay, fine. Yes, good, moving on.
Hello. Great news. You are the lucky winner of part of a new timeshare in Cape Cod. Congratulations to you. We will simply need you to respond with your name, email, date of birth, blood type, social security number, mother's maiden name.
Sake, even post-apocalypse they get you.
Are you there, Landon? It's me, Margaret.
Ugh, boring bitch.
Hello. Yes. I'm really sorry to bother you, but I am currently engulfed in flames. Any advice?
So if my last name begins with a P and my spouse's last name begins with an F, do we go to the Provision Center on the third Thursday or the last Tuesday of each month? We do have 3 kids, but one of them isn't a ginger, and I am worried that all of them may die. We haven't been able to get any flavorless gelatinous cubes in over a month.
I hate the taste of Bisca.
Landon Harker, you have ruined my life. He will never forgive you.
All hail Chuck Barris.
Listen up, you little fascist Jill. We're on to you, and you may think the war's won, but that was just a battle or two. The war for humanity is still on and is gaining steam. There are millions of us in the resistance. Millions. And when we come, we're coming for you first. You are worse than an artillion. You are lower than an artillion. You won't see us. You won't anticipate us. But I will tell you this much. When we arrive, it'll sound like a dick fur.
What's a dick fur?
To f*** with. Gotcha, douchebag.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then. Well, folks, there comes a time in every broadcaster's life when he must admit that he's been had. And for me, well, that's some other day, because I'm going to have that little piece of shit on a crucifix by dinner time. You call down the thunder, well, now you got it. Apropos of nothing, the Artillion division of breakfast foods wishes to inform you the invention of cornflakes is attributed to 2 brothers, Dr. John Harvey Kellogg and Will Keith Kellogg, who were both Seventh-day Adventists and worked as medical practitioners in Michigan in the late 19th century. In 1894, the Kellogg brothers were experimenting with different types of foods for their patients in the Battle Creek Sanitarium, a health resort they operated. One day, they left some boiled wheat to sit overnight and found that it had become stale. They decided to roll it out and bake it, creating a crunchy and flaky cereal. They called their creation Granos, and later developed a similar product using cornmeal, which they named cornflakes. Also, apropos of nothing, some interesting little tidbits about Dr. John Harvey Kellogg. Kellogg was a strong believer in the health benefits of enemas and advocated for their use as a way to cleanse the body of toxins. He even developed his own apparatus for administering enemas called the colonic machine. Kellogg was a proponent of eugenics, a controversial movement that sought to improve the genetic quality of the human population through selective breeding. He believed that certain traits were superior and that the human race could be improved by breeding individuals with those traits. Kellogg was an advocate of sexual abstinence and believed that masturbation was harmful to physical and mental health. He developed a variety of methods to prevent or discourage masturbation, including circumcision and the application of carbolic acid to the genitals. So, that is all really. Just consider that when you next pour yourself a bowl of cereal for breakfast. And maybe, inquire of said company founded by a sex-starved eugenicist why they think they're too good to sponsor the one and only radio program of record for this, our brave new Artillion world. Really, I mean it. What's their problem? Okay, breathe. And when you're looking for a quick, nutritious breakfast, why not reach for a box of Honey Nut Cheerios, direct from a reputable cereal company like General Mills? They're great. Unlike Tony the Tiger, who hasn't paid child support in years due to his gambling debts. I've also heard rumors that some boxes of cornflakes may or may not contain rat poison. And that is to say, they definitely don't. Or at least I'd be willing to say that they definitely don't, for the right price. Play ball, Kellogg's. I've got powerful friends now. The following extraordinary humans will receive the Artilian Medal of Valor in the Arts, accompanied by 1 billion Artilian credits, seaside villas, and all the bisca they can drink. Lee Redmond held the record for longest fingernails until 2009, with her nails measuring a combined length of 8.65 meters, or 28 feet, 0.45 inches. Cam Ma set the record in 2008 for the most piercings in one sitting, with 1,015 in a single session. Wim Hof, known as the Iceman, spent the longest time in direct full-body contact with snow at 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 10 seconds in a container filled with ice cubes up to his neck. Lee Weir of New Zealand has 41 tattoos of Homer Simpson just on his arm. Kanchana Katkau of Thailand lived in a glass room with 3,400 scorpions for 33 days. Takeru Kabayashi of Japan ate 12 hamburgers in just 3 minutes. 28 people who managed to fit inside a Mini Cooper in 2012. Ashrita Furman of the United States balanced a lawnmower on his chin for 1 hour and 9 minutes. Aaron Cassie of Canada balanced 17 spoons on his face in 2019. On a slightly related note, the Artilian division of handing out medals may have just stumbled onto a copy of the Guinness Book of World Records and become enchanted by the idea of people humiliating themselves. Really, I mean, for no apparent reason. Just the love of the game. Artilians respect that greatly. The way you might respect someone who is willing to eat anything for $1, or whose party trick is queefing on command. That kind of thing. Anyway, congratulations to you lucky few. You have been judged the best of humanity. God, how I weep for the future. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. All is well. All is well. All hail, Chuck Barris. Boycott cornflakes. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com. Take a breath, count to 10. Everything is as it should be. Everything will continue to be as it should be. The future has already happened. It did. It happened while you were sleeping. You missed everything. Shame, too. It was a real gas. Parties and orgies. I was blind for 3 days. Anyway, it's in the past again. You poor f***. It has been 1,346 days since we have been liberated, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades and friends, from the tyranny of freedom. This is your daily reminder of how good you have had it since the Artilian extraterrestrial invasion and subjugation 1,347 days ago, which succeeded after a battle with human forces lasting roughly 11 and a half minutes. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. I am your host, Landon Harker, and here's how good you have it today. What is this? What? Yeah, okay, Lewis, for the last time, the reason you can hear me is because I am speaking into a microphone and you are listening to my voice through those headphones. Yeah. The ones on your ears. Yes, stop pointing. That is soundproof glass between us. This is a broadcast studio. I cannot hear you. Use the talkback. When? At the top of the show?
Yes.
No. At the top of the show, I do some human interest stories, sports, and people swallowing their own feet. Not this bullshit.
She left a message for you saying she wanted you to do a social media promo.
And if I refuse,
Remember, your bonus is tied to this.
they wouldn't dare. Get her on the phone. Get her on the phone.
What about the audience?
I don't fucking know. Play a song. And that was someone doing one of their songs, I suppose. Good, great. Well, are you serious? Don't just shrug, really. All due respect, are you somebody's cousin to be here? Use the talk back.
Yeah, I'm Paul McCartney's cousin.
Oh, really? Well, okay, that's impressive. From the Beatles days or Wings days?
Well, both. As far as I'm aware, there's only one Paul McCartney who was in both bands.
I'll be damned. All right, so what's the deal?
Management said you have to do the promo read.
Effective when?
Now.
All right. Okay, fine. I got it. Shut up. And I would just like to take this opportunity to remind you all that in addition to all of the great information you get on our show live every day, you can also follow us on both Instagram and Twitter. You know what? No, I won't do this. Because it's pointless, Lewis. This show is compulsory, so I don't have to pander to these morons. Brothers and sisters, instead of our usual show, let's have a little story time, okay? Get a stiff cocktail, sit somewhere comfortable, take your tits out, again, a comfort thing, and close your eyes. Picture pure evil. What is coming to mind? It likely depends on your culture, doesn't it? Where you were raised and what you may or may not believe. Don't worry, I have you covered. As you may know, in Christian theology, the devil is a fallen angel who rebelled against God and was cast out of heaven. He is portrayed as a malevolent entity who tempts humans to sin and ultimately seeks to lead them away from God. The devil is often depicted as having horns, a tail, and red skin. In Islamic theology, the devil is known as Iblis. He is believed to be a jinn, a creature made of smokeless fire who refused to bow down to Adam, the first human created by God. Iblis is portrayed as a tempter who tries to lead humans astray from the path of righteousness. In Hinduism, the devil is not a singular entity, but rather a collection of malevolent beings known as asuras. Asuras are often depicted as enemies. Asuras are often depicted as enemies of the gods and are associated with darkness, chaos, and ignorance. In Buddhism, the devil is not a personified entity, but rather a metaphor for the negative aspects of the human mind. The devil represents the ego, attachment, and ignorance, which are obstacles to spiritual enlightenment. And finally, in many African traditional religions, the devil is not a central figure, but rather a collection of malevolent spirits who believe to cause harm and misfortune. These spirits are often associated with witchcraft and sorcery. And then again, you may be more correct, such as myself, and be an atheist, which would stand to reason, as we have been subjugated by an alien force not present in any religious text. Anyway, for most of us on this, the correct side of the fence, you might find evil more in the mortal realm. Stalin, Pol Pot, Hitler, Bundy, Captain Kangaroo. It shall likely come as no surprise to any of you that you're wrong. And by implication, stupid. But I don't blame you, comrades. Most of you are just not up to the challenge of looking the beast in the eyes and living to tell the story. How does one confront evil, friends? What depths must be plumbed? And how does one brace against all that is vile and tainted? O wretched evil, thou art a plague that ravages the heart and mind of man. Thou art a shadow that doth overhang the path of life and poison all that's grand. Thou art a serpent that doth coil and hiss, a viper that doth bite and sting with venom. Thou art a treacherous foe that doth persist, a specter that doth haunt and vex all men. Thou art the source of all that's base and vile, a lurking menace that doth seek to snare the soul of man and tempt him to defile his noble spirit with thy foul despair. But though thou art a dark and fearsome thing, thou hast no power over the pure of heart. For they, with faith and courage, can take wing and soar above thy reach to realms apart. So let us, in the face of thy dark might, hold fast to what is good and true and right. For the devil does not come of red skin and hooves and horns. The devil comes in disguise and reaches deep into your spirit and beguiles you, all blonde and blue-eyed, and before you know it well, you've lost your soul and you are damned. What is the better evil, friends? The evil you know or the evil you do not know? Again, your answers may vary, but the evil I know is named Catherine Andover, this station's social media manager. And at her name, the heavens did weep. Okay, that may have been a sound effect, but still. For some background, those of you paying attention in the early 20s may recall that before our Artilian overlords completed a subjugation of humanity, one was earlier attempted by Zuckerberg, Musk, and several shadowy entities with no connection whatsoever to the Chinese Communist Party. And while the damage done via social media networks is undeniable and was arguably more destabilizing than an alien invasion, the takeover could not be completed. Those men of power who sought what they thought was a hostile takeover were missing one important tool that all the money in this world could not buy, namely, the power to summarily execute insurgents with their minds, like an Artilian. Post-invasion and subjugation, you may recall that Zuckerberg, Musk, and certain proxies for some organization that was definitely not the Chinese Communist Party were executed, and that execution was broadcast live via Facebook. They were strapped to chairs and their eyes held open, Clockwork Orange style. They were denied food and water and forced to watch their respective testimonies before congressional subcommittees until they expired. Musk held out the longest at 103 hours, and he was a little bitch for every single second of it. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok were all left intact as the Artilian division of propaganda realized that this would make their jobs infinitely easier. Which brings me to Catherine Andover. she who has attempted to force upon me, your humble host, all manner of humiliating and servile tasks associated with audience outreach and retention. Would you like to hear the voice of evil, friends? Do you think you can handle it? Lewis, my friend, play one of the voicemails. What? What? Again, use the f***ing talkback. The glass is soundproof.
I don't think that's a good idea. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Whatever one is closest at hand, just play it.
Hey Landon, it's Catherine. First, I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed yesterday's show. You were really amazing. Really, I think you've found your stride. Let's make sure to keep the momentum going. Maybe you could post a picture of your lunch on IG. Maybe a funny thought on Twitter. You're so funny. Kate, good luck tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.
Sweet, chipper, perky, fine. I don't say no. But you have to listen with more than your ears, comrades. Listen between the lines, and let's focus on the substance of that message. Post a picture of my lunch. My lunch. My lunch is, first of all, I cannot fathom why any of you would be interested in what I had for lunch, aside from the fact that I am now the most interesting man on the planet. Yes, good, we'll take that as read. But when and what I eat and whether or not every meal consists of the finest cuts of beef ever grown in sterile laboratories in the former Soviet Union with sides of the last specimen of different endangered species is none of anyone's concern. Secondly, maybe a funny thought on Twitter. Maybe a funny thought, she says, as though they are a dime a dozen and I can just toss them off willy-nilly at Catherine Andover's direction. Simple as that. Ready, set, be funny. Well, first of all, Beelzebub, let me tell you three things. This isn't a comedy show. This is a news and current events program. What cities haven't been destroyed? What people have not been summarily executed by Artillians using only their minds? What is it like to have a global food surplus? How good have we had it since we were subjugated? You know, news. I will grant that there may be something about my speaking voice, intonation, and delivery that people find humorous, but if you are laughing, that is incidental and a mistake on your part, and you will be punished swiftly and harshly. And before anyone thinks me stuck in the past, let me be completely upfront. It is not that I feel intimidated or angered at the idea of having to take direction of any kind from a woman, okay? I mean, it certainly doesn't help, but I'm not a Neanderthal. I believe that women are just as capable as any man of f***ing up a job I assigned to them so severely as to appear as if they were attempting to do precisely the opposite of what I ordered. It is not about gender. It is about motivation and intelligence, or the lack thereof. Yes, Lewis, I am looking at you, sir. Play the next voicemail.
Landon, it's Catherine. Just calling to say good luck tomorrow. I've been making 30-second clips I'm calling highlights and posting them on social media. People are loving them. But of course they are. It's your voice. Okay, bye.
Do you feel that, comrades? You do, don't you? That hot lead in the center of your chests. Fear not. That is a symptom of staring into the abyss for too long. For when you stare into the abyss stares back into you. Incidentally, I have been told the abyss was Catherine Andover's nickname in high school. Why she would have been compared to a bottomless hole into which anything can be fit and lost forever, well, I'm sure I don't know. Simply a mystery for the ages, and I am ordering each and every one of you to not take to social media and post messages at her accounts, calling her the abyss. Don't do it. Really. I mean it. I realize you cannot see me, so I will just say aloud, wink. Suffice it to say, Miss Andover and I are now officially at war, and while she may have legions of meme-posting mouth breathers at her disposal, I have literal armies. The ground will tremble under their feet, and they shall drink the rivers dry as they march, ever cleaning blood from their bayonets and pushing, moving, charging ever towards victory. No matter the obstacle, no matter the opposing forces, we shall conquer once again. Mark my words. Oh, and this just in. Apparently, France is on fire. All of it. Really, you can see it from space. Just a France-shaped oblong of raging flame. My guess is this is the result of some sort of accident, despite the fact that there are no accidents on New Artilia. I'm sure you'll remember that the Artilians are big fans of the French. Anyway, more on that next time. All hail, Artilia. All hail the eyes in the sky. All is well, all is well. Lewis, my producer, likely couldn't manage to shoot a single fish in a barrel, even if they were already dead. In simpler times, I would have mocked him at this point with what we used to call the, quote, hard voice, but that's no longer appropriate. And looking at him through the glass now, I can see him all mad and stupid. I've been shot, friends, by Lewis McCartney. The glass is soundproof no longer. Godspeed. Mayhem is a Wetwork Media production starring Landon Harker. It is written and produced by Dan Lauer. All music is provided courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. To learn more, visit incompetech.com.